Okay, this is another one of my series. I have a bunch. Okay, this is reading old newspapers. So I got a subscription to newspapers.com, and I put on videos going through old newspapers from their website. And then we talk about it and stuff. Okay, let's get to it. And then, okay, let's go to the United States. We're going to pick a big. Usually I picked a small city, but I'm going to pick like New York this time. See what's up in New York. Now let's see where. New York, New York I should do. New York, New York. New York Times. Let's see what the New York Times has. Let's pick something older. 1880s let's pick. And today, well, this month is April, right? Sometime in April. And then I have choices here. April, let's do a Saturday. Okay. Pages, well. Okay, the New York. Notes from 1880s. It's a long time ago. Notes from Washington, in the New York page. And something says about Canada here. Representation, right there. You see, representation having been made by the Post Office Department of the Government of Canada that mail packages of American publications were subject to the payment of customs dues. The Canadian authorities have placed such publications on the free list. I skipped. Authorized have recognized the justice of the complainant and placed such publications on the free list. The House Committee on Public Buildings and Grounds agreed today to recommend the passage of bills providing for the erection of public buildings at the following places: Key West, Florida, at a cost not exceeding $25,000; Augusta, Georgia, $100,000; Sacramento, California, $100,000; Syracuse, New York, $100,000; Marquette, Michigan, $100,000; Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Penn, I don't know, $75,000; Tyler, Texas, $50,000; Greensville, South Carolina, $50,000. Public buildings and grounds. Why are they doing cities? Public buildings on public buildings. Okay. Okay, let's read above here. The Senate adjourned today until Monday. That makes sense because it's Saturday. The Secretary of the Treasury has issued a circular to the Board of Supervising Inspectors of Steam Vessels, announcing that a special meeting of the board will be held in this city on May 10th for the consideration and regulation of signal lights for ferry steamers running in eastern waters. Okay. What's a circular? To the board. Interesting. Oh, yeah, Russia. Something about Russia here. Russia's gloomy condition, delays caused by British elections, press censorship, nihilism in Switzerland. London, April 9th. A dispatch from St. Petersburg says the departure of General Skobelev of Central Asia is still uncertain. The opinion is current in some circles that this movement will be dependent on the charge in the English ministry. But for the release of many prisoners and the examination of others with the view of their early trial, the outlook is generally gloomy. The press bureau is again very active, and the position of journalists is therefore anxious and difficult. No early change is intended, respecting the Ministry of Public Instruction and wise opposition. The details are now furnished of the rest of the courier of Prince of Lieven, one of the secretaries of state, charged with forging passports. His wife is seriously implicated in revolutionary proceedings. There was found in their possession the sum of 92,000 rubles, stated to have been derived from the sale of false passports, which had been fabricated during the past 8 years, and numbered 14,000. Okay, that had nothing to do with Russia. Huh. Okay, let's go to page 2. Oh, the Kentucky Derby? Can't barely read it. 3-1 against Kimball. 6-1 against Blackburn, and I can't read it. 10-1 against Howling Green. 15 to 200 to 1 against others. 15 to 1 against Pat Farrell. I don't know, I can't read it. 12 to 1 against Tallman and Aurora's Baby. Huh. Whoa, I'm missing the page here. There's more page. It's a long story. I don't want to read it. New Jersey's War Veterans. Trent, April 9th. The annual meeting of the New Jersey Association of Officers of the Late War was held today. The following officers were elected for their ensuing year. I can't read it. Colonel W. E. Potter of Cumberland, President, Vice President General W. J. Sewell, Colonel Curtis C. Sudam, Dr. J.J. Lee, General Joseph B. Plum, and Major Benjamin Gregory. Secretary, General E.L. Campbell. Treasurer W.W.L. Phillips. Executive Committee, Colonel William R. Murphy, General W.S. Stryker, and General J.A. Fay, Jr. The following elected for their ensuing year. Ensuing? I don't know. I didn't read that right. Okay, let's go to the next page. Let's go to the next page. See if there's anything interesting there. Oh, it's like the financial affairs. It's like probably the stock market, right? Prince Demidov Medidov's sale. The great art auction at Florence. A wide range of prices. $500,000 worth of Dutch and Flemish paintings. The Prince, a large loser by the sale. A large losses by the sale. Florence, March 23rd. Prince Demidov kept faith with the public in his promise to have his palace ground put into the same condition for the auction as if they were about to be revoked. The Emperor of Russia himself as his guest. Not only a large sum of expended was expended in, I can't read it, redecoration, but the appointments and attendee throughout were on a truly imperial scale of grandeur. At first only selected, but after a while the doors for 3 days were open to the public from 1 o'clock a.m. I guess, or p.m. till 5 it looks like. There's a great crush. Even for the 109 rooms, 5,000 visitors at a time pass through, but in the perfect order and the good nature with characterized always Florence crowd. Nothing was touched by or disturbed. Nonetheless, notwithstanding, there were so many some tempting objects of plate, jewels, and richest something within their easy reach. In the park, a fine something of music was playing all the time, and there were about 70 policemen in military garb distributed about the rooms. They had nothing to do, however, except to keep the people moving in the right directions. The first 3 days begins on the 15th, has been devoted to the sale of old masters, chiefly of the Dutch and Flemish schools. For some, the competition has been very active, and for others, quite the reverse. Prices have ruled at extremes of high and low, even for the same master. Owing to the subject quality of the technical execution, or some caprice of buyers. The magnificent, well-known Haberma paid $350,000 and bought the Italian government for 210,000 frames. I don't know what they're talking about. I'm finished with that. Holy smokes. It's a long... The prince is selling his stuff. Complains of hard times. There are said to be 700 vacant tenements there. 700 vacant tenements. Okay, I don't know. Okay, next page. Next page. So hard to read. Obituary. Who had died. Obituary note. Gilbert Hatfield, who died at his home in Hoboken Thursday, was the father of General Hatfield and brother of ex-alderman Abraham and Amos L. Hatfield of New Jersey City. Born in White Plains, New York in 1791, he first applied himself to the study of medicine, but afterwards entered into co-partnership with James Hartine in the dry goods business in Jersey City. With Wilson G. Hunt, he in 1820 organized the first rifle corps ever established in New Jersey. He was one of the largest property owners in Hudson County at the time of his death. The funeral will take place from the Methodist Church, Hoboken, at 1 p.m. tomorrow. Sounds like a good guy. Rifle Corps, ever established. General Railway Notes. Huh. What's the railway doing? A California company reorganization of the Atlantic, Mississippi, and Ohio. Richmond, Virginia, April 9th. The board of directors of the Richmond and Allegheny, I think that's Allegheny, Railway Company today elected Francis O. French of New York president of the company, in place of G.M. Bartholomew resigned. Conveyance of the rights, property, and franchises of Buchanan and Clifton Forge Railway was complete, and the mortgage securing the issue of the bonds of the Richmond and Allegheny Railway was placed on record. Okay. San Francisco, April. Articles of incorporation of the San Francisco and Northern Railway were filed today. The company is owned by the New York. What is that? Syndicate, which was purchased and consolidated the North Pacific Coast Railway and San Rafael and San Quentin Railway, and the steamers and redwood timber lands of the Russian River Land and Lumber Company. Okay. Interesting enough, I guess. Let's go to page 6. Let's look at it quickly and then move to a different city. Okay, classifieds, basically. Situations wanted. Females. Chambermaid and waitress. By a respectable young girl in private family. Willing something. Will assist with washing. Best something references, I guess. Chambermaid. Cook by first class. Swedish cook? 2 years reference from last place. Housekeeper and companion. By a high, respectable, and refined lady. A position as housekeeper or companion to an invalid. Recommendations secondary to a good home. Okay. Nurse. By reliable and exceedingly well recommended young woman. Would assist with chamber work preferred to engage with a family who go in the county during the summer. Okay. What about men's? Butler. By a respectable Protestant, I don't know why it matters, man who is strictly temperate, honest, and obliging, and can refer to last and former employers, who will recommend him for thoroughly acknowledge his business. Okay. engineer. A licensed engineer wants for situation to run a stationary engine. It is willing to make himself generally useful and is competitive to his own repairing. Best city reference as to something and capability. Farmer thoroughly understands farming and the care of stock and farming implements of all kinds, is a good worker, and has best of reference from last employer. Okay, I'm running out of time here. I want to do another different paper. Let's see here. I'm a big fan of Buffalo. Buffalo Jewish Review, let's try. Let's try 1939, let's try. In April, Friday, they only have 28, let's try. 8 pages. Jewish Review, a weekly newspaper for the Jewish home. Look at this. This is okay, it's 1939. The other one was 1800, so 18 something. Jewish population in Palestine rises 25% in spite of riots. 3 years of violence counts 5,774 casualties and millions of dollars in property damage. Refugee deportation resented. Buffalo Zionist Forum Lecture Tuesday, May 2nd. Dr. Israel Goldstein, president of Jewish National Fund, to deliver season's concluding talk at Temple Beth Zion Auditorium. Dr. Israel, that's Israel, right? Goldstein. Dr. Israel Goldstein, president of the Jewish National Fund and one of the foremost Zionist leaders, will address the Buffalo Zionist Forum on Tuesday evening, May 2nd, at Temple Beth Zion Auditorium. Dr. Goldstein's subject will be Jewish isolationism versus collective security, the appalling condition of the Jews in Central Europe, and the precarious of life in Palestine. Continuing on page 7, I'm not going to read it more. Okay, let's go on that second page. Some commercials. Some advertisements. Again, I find that in certain areas they don't show prices, they just say what's on sale. Classified. Births. Mr. and Mrs. Louis Goldstein of wherever announces the birth of their daughter on April 21st. Engagements. Wolf Liebschild. Mr. and Mrs. Henry Liebschild of Detroit, Michigan, announced the engagement of their daughter, Mildred, to Harold Wolf of New York City. Mr. Wolf is the son of Mr. and Mrs. Maney Wolf of this city. Social and personal. Mrs. Julius Goldman entertained 27 girls Saturday afternoon at a buffet luncheon in honor of her twin daughters, Phyllis and Elaine, who were celebrating their 17th birthday. And then there's advertisements. Three stores they have. That's pretty forward thinking. Back then? 1939, I guess it's not that bad. Huh. Okay, let's check out another page. This video is going long. Jewish Fresh Air Camp registration open. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, have been set aside for registration for applications to go to the Jewish Fresh Air Camp this summer. Applicants must appear between the hours of 3 and 5 o'clock, accompanied by a parent, at the Jewish Community Center. Death. Raymond, Fanny, Nee, Harriton, beloved wife of Abraham Raymond, passed away April 23rd, 1939 at 12:45 a.m. Survived by four sisters: Mrs. Mary Rustinoff of Detroit, Michigan; Mrs. Saul Mitchell of Welland, Ontario; Sina Harriton of Russia; and two brothers, Morris of Argentina and Hyman Harriton of Russia. Burial was held Sunday, April 23rd in Brith Israel Cemetery, Pine Hill. Okay, let's all look at this. Now you can dance to Bono. Bono? Could be Bono and his music. Oh, Bono. In an intimate cafe, the favorite supper room of Buffalo people. Bono is Buffalo's own musical maestro. Here he started his band. Here he moved up, step by step, and now he's at the Statler. Dinner dancing every evening in the main dining room. Supper dancing every night except Sunday in the cafe. No cover charge. Hotel Statler. Inspected milk. Protected for your health. Weckler milk. Okay, one more page and then I'm finishing this video. This is a long video. Yeesh. Let's Talk It Over by Zed Teigel. Problems of Jewish Unemployment. It is an axiom that the normal activities of a nation cannot be suspended, though the emphasis on them may sometimes be lessened, even in periods of grave emergency such as war. This truth is applicable at the present moment to American Jewry. Never heard of Jews called Jewry. While we are compelled today to strain every effort in the defense of our people against the implacable enemies who seek our annihilation, we must nevertheless continue to give due attention to our specific inner Jewish problems in this country. We have a number of organizations devoted to the problem of discrimination against Jews, and there is also some serious talk amongst us regarding the vital question of occupational direction and readjustment for our youth. Thus, an important department in the American Jewish Congress, conducted under the able direction of Dr. J.X. Kahn, is engaged in studying and in seeking the correct certain manifestations of anti-Jewish discrimination. Various other groups dedicated to combating anti-Semitism in America, such as the Anti-Defamation League of the B'nai B'rith, for instance, are also active in the work of anti-discrimination. And now we hear of projects for practical work in the field of occupational readjustment under the aegis of the committee, of which is expected Professor Morris Cohen will be chairman. The American Jewish Congress, which is giving a great deal of earnest thought on these problems, has received invaluable help and counsel in this matter from the learned Jewish economist Jacob Leschinsky, who arrived in the United States several months ago in order to settle here permanently. Dr. Leschinsky was engaged in similar activities in pre-Hitler Germany and later in Poland. It is not my intention to go into these questions here, but rather to touch on one or two other issues which are closely related to the complexities of problems involving in our struggle against anti-Jewish discrimination. Sad as it may be, it is also no secret that there are Jewish employers who refuse employment to members of their own race. They offer various excuses, none of which are valid, of course, but the very fact that such a situation exists is enough to make us feel extremely uneasy. Discrimination of this sort by large Jewish manufacturers is practiced in Poland, too. Yet there is one important difference in the circumstances. The small number of Jewish manufacturers in Poland claim that they are compelled to do this by the non-Jewish workers. The Jewish manufacturers and industrialists in this country cannot reasonably justify their action on this and any other logical grounds. Where then is the explanation to be found? The problem is particularly complicated in New York, where half the Jewish population of America lives. Owing to the constantly recurring industrial strife results from differences between employers and employees, there has been a considerable exodus of Jewish manufacturers in recent years from New York to the smaller towns and nearby states, chiefly New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Massachusetts. Each time that a plant is removed in this way, many Jewish workers lose their jobs and new elements replace them. This process occurs particularly in those trades where Jews have been predominantly, i.e. the clothing and shoe industries and the related fields of leather and dry goods. if a large section of our youth were prepared for various occupations other than law and medicine, that is, if they were guided and trained by Jewish organizations for work in other than the above mentioned professions, the removal of clothing and shoe factories from New York would not be half as serious as its effects. But in the absence of such occupational guidance and training for our youth, the time may not be far off when American Jewry will find itself face to face with a grave problem which will be known as the employment problem of the Jewish youth. Who is to be blamed for this? Okay, anyways. Okay, it's been 40 minutes. I think that's it for the... That's it for the reading. I could go on for days on that. There's so many newspapers, there's so many stories. But I can't make my videos really long because I have a really bad upload speed. It takes 5 hours for my videos to upload to YouTube, and I don't want to take up all the time and the bandwidth from the household. And what else? Oh yeah, I try to upload it in the middle of the morning, between midnight and the morning time. It's when nobody's using it. Okay. Till next time. Signing off. Remember, live your life and see what happens. Later. Okay.